Well, that is another Disney Plus Marvel show in the can. We have had the season finale of Hawkeye. It's pretty good. This might be one of the first well, no, I guess I didn't do one for What If too. Well, okay, so this is one of a couple of Marvel projects that I don't think I'm going to do a big summation video at the end because I don't think I have anything to add that I didn't say in the individual reviews. I don't think I have a grander point to make looking at the thing as a whole. But you know what? This has been good. This has been fun. I'm going to get into spoilers right off. It's the last episode, it's the finale. How can I not? So, why don't we start by dealing with the thing that was brought in at the very end, that being Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Great to have him back. He's still really good in the part. I'm not sure he was used the best way that he could have been. I'm not even entirely sure that this show was the best place to reintroduce him. Here's what I mean by that. Ultimately, there's enough going on between Yelena, the immediate threat of what's going on, the tracksuit mafia, Kate's story, all that stuff to fill up the time. Echo to fill up the time and trying to squeeze him in. He's not completely shortchanged, but I think I think it might have been better if he had been introduced to the MCU already, but this was like his first time having a more active role in it. This being both his introduction, as well as that, I don't know. It feels like it's coming up a little bit short. I feel like he should have either been in this earlier, or maybe they should have saved him for something where they could have introduced him or into the story earlier. It's in this weird middle ground where he's too integral for me to be like he just doesn't need to be there at all, but he's not integral enough for me to be like that's a good big splashy hey, he's here now kind of thing. It's not really either. It's not bad, it's just not great. It did strike me as like I was kind of hoping, and I guess they're just not. I was kind of hoping they were going to explain how he just got up from being shot in the chest with an arrow and hit with a car and blown up. Like, okay, he's a big dude. And I know in the comics it's established he's mostly muscle, but like at one point he was like fidgeting with his watch. I was like, are they gonna drop a line like he's got tech that's got him like a real thin personal force field or something? Because he should not be getting up. And like maybe they still will, given that it had hinted at him being shot by Echo, and they definitely didn't do that. There's no way they brought him in just to kill him. Like that's not a thing. So, well, maybe eventually they'll explain that. But since they don't explain it within the episode itself, it just struck me as a okay, so we're just gonna not explain how he's not dropping dead, or at least not staying down. I brought up Echo. Her story also feels a little rapidly tied up. I feel like the plot seems to think I care about the guy who was like her second in command, and like the connection with the Kingpin. I don't even remember his name. I feel like the show thinks I care about that guy more than I do, because it seems to be weighing on the idea of like, oh, that the conflict has come to this, and like I'm okay, but I get that Echo cares about him. I do get that, but that doesn't mean that I do. Yeah, it was banking on that a little too much. Here's here's a weird thing. Now that we know for certain that he's not a knowledgeable villain, but is instead just kind of a doofus, I kind of like Jack Duquesne in this finale. It's just this dipshit with a sword, which, to the extent that I know anything about him in the comics, is actually fairly accurate so far as I understand this guy. But like, that was entertaining. The LARPers, they're about where they've been for me the whole time, which is that, this is not the cringe fest it could have been, but there's just enough elements of that still hanging on that I'm not in love with it, but it's Fine. I'm really annoyed that we did not establish the safe return of that bag that Clint borrowed. I'm really annoyed at that. That's a massive oversight. I needed to know that bag was safe, and I don't know that. 1 star. That's what this finale gets. No, not really. But that does kind of annoy me because like the show made me care about that bag and then left it alone and forgot about it. Yeah. Yelena, I love her interactions with Kate so much. I love this. Look, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to kill a guy. You seem like a nice person, and we don't have to do this. But I'm here to kill somebody. I love it. I love the way that she banters with Kate. And also I think they handled the confrontation between her and Clint about as well as it was ever going to be handled, given that it's not like he can show her a video of what happened and they have to find a way to sell, him just saying it and her believing him instead of just assuming that he's saying whatever he thinks will save his skin. And I guess they did it well enough. I at no point did I go, I don't buy that she doesn't kill him. I feel like they wrung just the proper amount of emotional response out of both of them for that. It didn't mean much to me outside of that as a viewer. Like I wasn't moved by the scene, but they sold it well enough. So that was pretty good. Overall, I just like the tone and the vibe of this one. I this kind of has the Die Hard feel that I was excited to get just based off when the trailers first started dropping for this. I like that we established that Clint gets back home. I love just the look on his wife's face when he shows up again. I find their relationship fascinating. I really do enjoy that quite a bit. It seems to be setting Kate to just take over for Hawkeye. I don't know if this wraps up Jeremy Renner's contract or not. I haven't bothered to check that. But it is a point where if they wanted to sign him off and say he retired from here on out, they could. It would work, believable enough, given everything that went on and Kate coming in after the fact. Yeah, that would work. I feel like that by the time it ended, there was like one too many plots getting tied up because we've got Echo and the Kingpin and Kate's mom and Kate tied into that, and Clint, and especially Clint and Yelena, but also Clint just trying to ensure that people don't get hurt. And there's Jack, and there's the LARPers, and there's one too many. And ultimately, I actually am kind of feeling like what I said I was afraid of. I think last time, I feel like Echo actually got a little bit shortchanged because her introduction was amazing. But I feel like she got relegated to back burner status fairly soon after that and stayed there, which is a shame. I mean, some of the wind in her story got kind of yanked out by Yelena because Yelena kind of sucks the oxygen out of the room, like in a good way usually. But I would have liked to have seen more from Echo, and then because Echo's story, I know it does tie into Kingpin as far as like that's who she's working for goes, but at the same time it doesn't feel that tied into Kingpin because we only see them together in one scene. So it doesn't feel like he's part of her story in the same way that it feels like he feels much more tied to Kate's mom than he does to Echo. So his presence didn't really bolster her story all that much either. I am going to check out her solo series when that shows up, definitely, because the actress sold the hell out of the part, and I do find her interesting. It's funny. I feel like I'm nitpicking a lot. I think overall the finale just left me going, yeah, that was pretty good. And part of the problem is actually I'm recording this way later than I normally would. Normally I would have recorded this in the morning after seeing it, but it has been a packed day. and I am now recording this after I've had dinner. So I've been ruminating on this for a while, which means that the initial buzz of, man, that was a lot of fun, has worn off. Because, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but yeah, the thrill of that has passed, and now I'm sort of left with a clearer view of the things that are just a little not quite there, not quite clicking for me. But I don't want to leave you with the impression that I didn't think the finale was good. I did think it was good. I thought the show overall was good. It was good and it was fun, and it was content to be fun. I feel like most of these have tried to be something bigger and grander, rather than just being a good time. And sometimes that works. I think that worked well for Loki. I think some of the bigger ideas were some of the stronger elements of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think it worked particularly great for Wanda, because as it tried to quote unquote go bigger towards its tail end, it lost focus on what it was trying to do. And I just really did lose interest on What If as it started to build a grander narrative. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't care. But this one just doesn't really have that much grand ambition. And that's fine. It's here to be fun. And it's fun. I had fun. I don't know how well I'll remember it afterwards, but I don't regret my time with it. How's that for a ringing endorsement? We'll call it the bonus scene. Basically, the uncut, uninterrupted opening number from Rogers the Musical. That was a lot of fun. It was very cool seeing Adam Pascal front and center for the front end of the thing. Given that I spotted him during the first episode, it felt like a little cameo. I was like, oh yeah, that is him. And I'd heard his voice before, but now I give it, oh no, there he is. Gray's a good look on that guy, for the record. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there. If Disney ever wants to do Rogers the Musical, they'll probably call it Avengers the Musical or something like that. I don't think that many people would complain. And part of me wonders, was this a secret proof of concept? Not the worst idea in the world. Certainly no dumber than the Spider-Man show that was put on Broadway. Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. What'd you think of this finale? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I got a Patreon. That's how you can support me and ensure that this whole operation keeps going. Links to my other social media down below, plus my P.O. box if you feel like indulging that. But you know what? No big pressure on any of it. Don't worry about it. Take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break. None of this would have been possible without my supporters over on Patreon. In particular, I want to thank Robin Powell, Raven McBain, Tracy Scrabbit, Vincent Paul Bartolucci, Robin Moore, and Shayla Gourlay. If you'd like to hear me possibly mispronounce your name, maybe consider looking at the reward tiers over on the Patreon. But either way, don't worry about it too much. Take care of yourself.